This big problem is water. We were struggling a lot. I'm Lena Mahlodi Boya. I am the site manager of Majaji Daycare. From the beginning, we were struggling with water. Sometimes we buy water from the donkeys. Sometimes we hire a buggy with a big drum. Yesterday when they arrived here, I was so surprised. I feel like crying. Because water is the first thing we can use it on the place. Drinking, washing, cooking. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Our problem is solved. I must help other people the way you helped me.
Getting the right nutrition is essential to achieving and maintaining good health. Yet accessing balanced meals that also support health challenges and fulfill personal tastes is not always as easy as it should be. At Mom's Meals, our passion is to provide nourishment and deliver wholesome meals to the homes of those who need better nutrition to support their health and wellness, no matter where they live. It's the reason we've built our business from our own personal roots, caring for our clients as we do our own family and loved ones. Our menus are designed by professional chefs and registered dietitians to taste great and support the nutritional needs of common health conditions. Clients get to choose every meal, every order. Meals are delivered to any address, no matter how remote. Simply place your order, receive your delivery, heat, and enjoy. To learn more or view the wide variety of refrigerated meals available, visit momsmeals.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Iowa Stops Hunger podcast. My name is Michael Morain. I'm the editor of DSM Magazine. And Iowa Stops Hunger is an ongoing initiative between DSM Magazine and the Business Record to spotlight, raise awareness about food insecurity in Iowa, and to spotlight some of the people and organizations who are working to alleviate hunger, both here in Iowa and farther afield. We are proud to do this work. It's important, and we will keep doing it. With help from our sponsors at Hy-Vee and Mom's Meals, we are grateful for their support. Today, I'm especially eager to talk with Kathy Coady, who is the Chief Development Officer with Hope Ministries here in Des Moines. So welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. So good to be here.
I want to just jump right in. Help us understand some of the scope of how Hope Ministries helps feed people here in Iowa and maybe beyond.
Sure. So at Hope Ministries, our primary mission and goal is to come alongside people experiencing homelessness and hunger in our community. And we do that through a range of services, and oftentimes the very beginning of our relationship with someone and maybe the extent of our relationship with someone is they need support for free meals. And so we have our Hope Cafe at 1310 6th Avenue, and we are providing free breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day of the year to anyone in the community who comes through our doors. So that is an every meal, every day kind of support. And then, of course, in addition to that, we have about 300 men, women, and children who are staying with us in one of 3 locations. And so we're providing breakfast, lunch, and dinner for them as well. And so that all adds up to about 600 meals every single day.
That is a lot of mouths to feed. How has that program grown over the past few years?
It's grown in a number of ways. So we have expanded our services. So we are now serving residentially 3 times as many women and children as we were a couple of years ago. So now we're feeding 100 women and children every day as opposed to about 30 a couple of years ago. In addition to that, we are very full at our men's shelter. So we have about 20 to 25 more men staying with us every single night as opposed to a couple of years ago. And we continue to see high numbers of people just coming through our doors at Hope Cafe for those meals. So the meal numbers just continue to grow and grow each year.
To what do you attribute that growth? Is it increased capacity or there's increased demand? Why are those numbers going up?
Well, it's a great question, and for better or worse, I think it's for better. But one of the things about Hope Cafe is, we don't ask a lot of questions when somebody comes to us for help. So we can learn sometimes through conversation and relationship building what someone's circumstance is, but it's oftentimes many different stories. So it's people who are experiencing homelessness and unsheltered at the current time. It's people who are working and still trying to make ends meet. It's a whole variety of people. It's families who come in, one or two parents along with their children. So it's a whole variety of things. So I think we can look at, what we're all experiencing in terms of economic realities and the higher prices for groceries and gas and all of the things that we need. And sometimes, meeting those meal needs for yourself or your family just doesn't fit the budget.
Have you noticed a difference just in terms of funding for other government programs, SNAP or other, because there's so much uncertainty in some other programs? Has that impacted Hope Ministries and your efforts and your strategy?
I'm certain that it has. We didn't notice a dramatic change. What we've noticed is just a gradual, continual increase over time. So it wasn't that, 1 month we saw a dramatic jump. It's just another contributing factor that makes it harder for people to make ends meet.
And who supports this? I know Hope Ministries has lots of congregations. Who's the greater team that is supporting these direct efforts?
I'm so glad you asked. Yeah, we are not a church. We are a nonprofit organization, and we have lots of great church partners. But actually, the great majority of our funding and our financial support comes from individuals and households in our community and even across the state who choose to invest in uplifting their neighbors. So over 80% of our funding comes from individual households. So that is people who say, I can provide one meal for $2.36, and I'm going to give somebody else that nourishment and that hope that they need. And of course, any multiple of that number. So it's really thousands of people who are choosing to uplift their neighbors.
How did you get involved with this work in your role?
It's a God story. I did not see this role coming. It was not in my career plan. So I have a background in corporate communications and corporate marketing. And actually, at the church that I'm a part of, our pastor stood in front of the church about 12 years ago and said, brought a woman up and said she's leaving her role at Hope Ministries. And I just got one of those God nudges that I needed to talk to Mary and find out a little bit more about Hope Ministries. And it started a big journey. So it's a long story, but I will say that I was actively pursuing a career goal, and it was not this one. And so the Lord had a different plan for me, and it's been wonderful. His plan is better.
And to clarify for me and maybe some of our viewers, is Hope Ministries connected to Hope Lutheran Church, or is there any church affiliation? Spell that out for us.
We are not. No, we are a Christ-centered nonprofit. So we're Christians, but we are a non-denominational Christian organization. So we have lots of great church partners who help us in lots of different ways, but no specific affiliation.
How is Hope Ministries? How is your work and mission influenced? Because it's a Christ-centered nonprofit, how is your work or mission different than it might be if it were a completely secular nonprofit or a government program? How does that influence how you make decisions day to day, week to week, and in your planning?
Well, as a Christ-centered nonprofit, it's right in our mission statement that we want to give people opportunities for hope, recovery, and restoration through the love of Jesus Christ, because we believe that true, lasting transformation is a miracle that Jesus can do and can certainly accomplish in anyone's life, regardless of your path, your journey, your circumstances. So that really does inform how we go about the work that we do. We want to share the love of Jesus. We provide opportunities, and that's an important word because we are not trying to pressure or require anyone to take steps in their own faith journey. That is theirs to own. So, we're providing opportunities. If someone comes to us for a meal at Hope Cafe, they might hear a 15-second devotional, and someone is going to pray before we eat the meal. And if they choose to not actively participate in that, that is certainly their choice. If that sparks something in them and they want to talk with one of our staff or our volunteers, we're very well equipped to do that. And we want to have that conversation with people if that's part of their journey.
I think faith is such an important component to a lot of the topics we talk about on this podcast, Iowa Stops Hunger. For many Iowans, faith is a part of that, and so I'm eager to dig into this a little bit more with you and how faith plays a key role in some of these poverty and hunger efforts. But first, I want to take a minute just to thank one of our sponsors, Mom's Meals, who's going to tell us, we're going to break for a sponsor minute just to hear a little bit more about Mom's Meals. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This week's Hunger Insight is presented by Mom's Meals.
All right, we are back with Kathy Coady from Hope Ministries. And just before the break, we were talking about how faith influences Hope Ministries' work and the mission that they do to help make lives better for people here in Central Iowa. And I want to dig into that a little bit further because in the United States and a lot of places, um, hunger alleviation is sort of a cooperative effort where there are some government welfare charity programs, and then there are faith traditions that also are called to help people less fortunate in lots of different ways. So I want to what brings this to mind, the Business Record hosted a panel a couple of weeks ago with leaders from various local nonprofits across the board in lots of different areas here in Central Iowa. And every single one of them, of those leaders, talked about how this is such a time of uncertainty where funding from the state in forms of grants from federal and state and local governments is shaky and sort of it's hard to plan out, not knowing what grants are available or will continue. Corporate donations are shifting and they're different. There's just so much uncertainty. So as a faith-based or a faith-centered nonprofit, is that affecting you in the same way?
I would say it's not affecting us in the same way. Certainly, we are affected as individuals. Personal economic circumstances have changed. What we have found is that in the last several years, there are people who perhaps had the ability to provide a $25 gift or a $50 gift to an organization that they care about, and they don't have that ability now. So we have seen that impact. We are extremely blessed in that, we have a broad base of support, and we at Hope Ministries are completely privately funded. So we do not receive government funding. So government funding changes don't directly impact us. They impact some of the partners that we work with. So that impact is felt. But it allows us to continue to operate and to continue to rely on people who, again, being part of our belief as a Christ-centered organization is that, Jesus tells us, whatever you've done for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you've done for me. So that is the motivation behind the people, many of the people who are supporting us financially, who are volunteering with us. We want to be a way that they can do what they feel called by God to do in uplifting their neighbors. So in that respect, that calling on us as Christians has not changed. So as economic environment changes and government changes happen, those things remain constant.
Mm-hmm. I hear that. I go to a church in West Des Moines, and I hear that from other people of faith, that it's kind of reassuring. That's part of the appeal of a faith community, that these times are uncertain and they are rocky, but for centuries, people have gone through uncertain, rocky times. And it's the faith that carries people through. And there is certainly, there's the idea that this too shall pass. That the current questions and the current uncertainty, it feels really rocky, but part of the thing that motivates people of faith is that there's some higher powers at work, and so you kind of discern what you can to follow the Spirit where it leads in a way that people for centuries have done. So a lot of people find reassurance in that.
Well said.
I want to press a little further. How do you think, because I wonder in 2026 in the United States, it is a group effort, feeding people who are hungry. And there's a lot of overlap, certainly in communities where there are SNAP benefits or there are government tax funded helps, benefits for people who need them. But there's also, I think, an expectation that faith groups kind of fill in the gaps. Do you see different lanes for government funded hunger initiatives and maybe corporate funded initiatives and faith groups? Are they operating in different lanes, or should they operate in different lanes? I know that's a big question, but if you were in charge tomorrow, how would you delegate, I guess?
Oh gosh. Okay. Interesting question. I do think that we are in different lanes, but I think we're in different lanes on the same highway, if that makes sense. We're certainly working toward common goals, and we can do that better together. So, one example of that is we have a great relationship with the Food Bank of Iowa. And as a nonprofit, if someone contributes $1 to Hope Ministries, we can stretch that dollar a lot further in purchasing food than the individual can. So we, as a nonprofit partner with the Food Bank of Iowa, that's a great way for us to help meet that need. So, so a different lane, you mentioned faith-based organizations filling in the gaps. That's exactly what I think our niche is at Hope Cafe, is we're here every meal, every day. So you've got other, an individual or a family may have other supports and other resources that they're relying on that's going to help them for part of a month or part of a week. But there are times when they're going to need that extra support, and we can step into that. And again, we are blessed with the freedom to manage that regardless of what government decisions are made. Of course, completely relying on the generosity of our partners, but that they've been very faithful in that.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure your team at Hope Cafe, if you're there every day, um, you are attuned to personal needs in a way that a government simply can't do. If you're there every day, you see the people who benefit from your work. You can articulate the needs and raise concerns for the government or corporate donors or others in a way that is, I think that is a unique role. You are there, the hands and feet serving every day. Uh, Several podcasts ago, we were talking with a historian from Iowa State who was talking about the evolution of food stamps. And what you said about the different lanes on the same highway, that's a great example. It reminded me in the 1980s farm crisis, um, a lot of small towns in Iowa were really struggling to get very proud, independent-minded farmers to take advantage of food stamps. And because they had been raised as providers and to be self-sufficient, but they were facing economic headwinds that were not their fault. They were out of their control, but they were too proud to take a handout when they needed it. And so church groups, church leaders in a lot of small towns in Iowa encouraged everybody in town to line up for food stamps, even if they didn't need them, as a way to kind of provide cover. So if the banker in town and the teacher in town and the superintendent, if everybody lines up, then the farmer maybe feels less bad and less conspicuous about, taking some help when a family needs a little help to make ends meet. So I think what you're saying about different lanes moving in the same direction is such a good way to think about it. And I think there will always be some push and pull and tag teaming, but I that is a new way to, at least for me, that's an eye opener and a good takeaway.
Well, and I love what you shared also, because, another part of the reality is that it might be that someone comes to Hope Cafe because they need community.
Hmm.
They
Yep.
might be able to make their own can of soup at home,
Hmm.
but they are lonely. They don't have the community and the support and the relationships. And that's, again, I think, a beautiful piece of, we've got a comfortable place for you. We're not going to ask you questions. We're going to respect your dignity. To your point, we always encourage on our holidays. We have tons of volunteers who help us, and we have volunteers who help us every single day serving meals. And we always encourage people, and our staff do this as well. Sit down and eat the meal. We want you to eat the meal too. Sit down and talk with people. Just fellowship with them. That's ministry work, just as much nourishment as the food that they're getting.
I'm glad you brought up volunteers. For Make your best case, your pitch. How can people help if they want to jump in? What's an actionable thing that they can do right away?
They can do two things immediately. They could go to our website, hopeiowa.org, and they could contribute money to provide one or many, many meals to uplift their neighbors. And that contribution is also going to provide safe shelter and help us walk people through life recovery as well. And they can also go on and say, I want to get involved. And what does that look like? It can look like volunteering with us. We do what we call Hope 101. So we're going to invite you to an orientation session. You're going to learn a little bit about Hope Ministries, how we serve people, and the wide range of opportunities that we have. So we, as volunteers, are very essential to us, and we use volunteers every single day in lots of areas of our ministry. Or you say, I want to donate some supplies. So really it's, how are you feeling nudged that you want to uplift your neighbors? And we've got a spot for you.
Where do you see Hope Ministries growing in the next 5 or 10 years? What are you hopeful about for Hope Ministries?
Well, I don't know specifically how we will grow, but I have no doubt that we will continue to grow because we see the need that is present. And again, we're at year 111 for Hope Ministries. So we've been able to, since 1915, serve this community And we've experienced tremendous growth. As I mentioned, we've tripled the number of women and children that we're serving. We stepped into some supportive housing services last year as well. So we're serving more men who are looking for safe, sober, affordable housing. We see that as an opportunity for more growth as well. That's a huge need for people. And so, so we're open to where the Lord is leading us. But we see definitely more opportunities where people can be supported by Hope Ministries as they go through that journey of restoration, from meeting those immediate needs to healing and recovery, and then being able to live productively.
That's excellent work. So important. Is there anything else you'd like people to know about Hope Ministries?
I think I said it, Michael, but just to reiterate, we are so grateful to be part of a community that believes in the inherent value of our brothers and sisters, that regardless of what someone's circumstances are, what trauma they have survived, they deserve hope and a future. And so, again, we would not be here, Hope Ministries would not be here without the support of our community. And we're just very grateful for that, and we rely on it.
Kathy, thank you so much for carving out some time in your busy day.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work, and we will spread the word both through this podcast and in various print publications. Viewers, if you want to know more, you can click on iowastopshunger.com and pick up a copy of DSM Magazine or the Business Record, and we will keep cueing the trumpets and banging the drum here to spread the good work. So, Kathy, thank you, and keep it up.
Thank you so much.